video.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a video.
I said there's only be 2 people here.
Look, there is literally only 2
here.
people, and they're behind us. So we're here to see Age of Extinction in a whole empty cinema. Everyone must have gone to see it in 3D, but can't be arsed seeing it in 3D. So 2D is better. I learned that mistake with Avatar. So we're going to see Age of Extinction, and then the female as well is going to give a review with me hopefully in the morning, because we reckon we'll be out of here for about 12. So yeah. So wish us luck, we survive and we don't fall asleep, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, it's over giggling. It's all good. Right, so we've just been to see Transformers Age of Extinction in the big empty cinema. Okay, it did fill up as I got close to it, and our row of seats seemed to be the most popular, considering most of the cinema was empty. People who come in just wanted to sit next to us, so we must have been either smelling good or we had the best shit on. Probably because of the t-shirt. But yeah, we went to see Age of Extinction. What a long ass film. A bit too long. What? I didn't walk out there a happy chap. Just spoilers for everyone, by the way. I didn't walk out there like buzzing from the film. It didn't give me like I would go and see it again and sit through it.
Sorry, there's a bat.
Where? I'll look at super speed, do you want
it?
No. Right. Yeah, walked out there. Oh, skip. Yeah, not overly pleased with the overall hype of the film, considering that there's been countless TV spots, the Super Bowl, and numerous bloody trailers. It wasn't what I expected, to be honest with you. Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
I didn't expect anything, because I'm not really into Transformers, but it was really long, and the first third of it was quite promising. The middle it went off track a little bit, and the end it was just a mess of special effects, and I couldn't decipher what was going on. But it was just, I think it was just way too long.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for you guys who are watching on YouTube, so some of you would have met Amanda in auto assembly and stuff like that. She's not a Transformers fan, but it's good to have, I think, an outside view. Sometimes she despises it.
Don't despise it.
Despise the very
touch of like that. Obsessional.
Well, you know, that's one of the things. So let's. So if we start from the beginning, just a word to everyone: there will be spoilers. If we give away plot lines, then watch this later after you've seen it, comment, do whatever. But for those who have seen it, which tends to be the rest of the world, because UK got it like last. Hence the release date was today, the 5th of July. Beginning. It, like Amanda said, it starts off really sort of it's sort of character builds. Who's Mark Wahlberg? Who's his daughter? 17.
Yeah, but you've always got to have that basis, haven't you?
Yeah,
thick girl.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we had that in the last 3 films, and it works well. But it starts off really well, and there's certain parts in it that you really start to feel for the characters from the previous films. Optimus is he's sort of fan of all the trailers that we've seen, and we see him as his original is it Peterbilt truck, the flat nose truck, G1 truck. That's great. Once you see him in different lights away from the trailers, you start to feel kind of sorry for Optimus of what he represents. Anyway, it gets on and blah de blah. And okay, Mark Wahlberg is this tech genius. Coincidence. So
There's lots of coincidences in the film.
yeah,
That a boyfriend is a driver.
yeah, it's just
like he's been picked up by Red Bull. Product placement galore in this film as
yeah.
well.
It seems to be
It
seems to be a thing with Michael Bay that everyone in the world is just this amazing driver. You know, can somehow know some form of art, or it's just magic with the hands. And this film is no different. But
I suppose it wouldn't work if they weren't.
no, it wouldn't. I suppose that's movie magic when it comes to it, but it also takes it out of the whole reality thing where it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, not everyone's like that. You know, the paper boy must be like a secret assassin or something like that. But, you know, the opening clips of Optimus are absolutely brilliant, and it's weird to see Optimus in that character.
Oh,
Is that bat again? Yeah, that's on yeah, and the opening scenes with Optimus are actually it's quite sad to see him in such a light that you know this strong father figure that we all know through Generation 1. I'm going to relate it back to Generation 1 for those purists and stuff like that, but this is a completely different sort of reboot, so you've got to have a different angle. It's the Murder Prime thing. Prime is sort of like pure beat up. He just totally doesn't know who he is, and it's sad to sort of see him cower. Where you wouldn't think, you know, he's always been this sort of elemental force, like let's stand up for this, yeah, and let's get it on and stuff like that. But you actually hear him hating humans and fearing humans, and Michael Bay has a tendency of highlighting certain factors of, you know, whether it's the military, whether it's the government, or whether it's just typical human nature of who we are. We always think we're the centre of the universe, and this film literally puts us smack centre of the universe. So, what do you think of Prime? And you don't really know you know most of the character. Even you said when it finished, it's strange the way Prime Optimus wanted to kill people.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit, I don't know, a bit dodgy, because I've always, throughout the whole Transformers experience that I've had with Anton and other people, is that Optimus Prime doesn't kill humans, and he kills at least one in this film, and he's not bothered whatsoever about it.
Yeah. I mean, you see the progression of Prime of this.
They've all gone a little bit bitter and twisted in this film. All of the Autobots, I think.
Yeah.
Against each other a bit more, and also against humans, apart from the ones that they're protecting throughout the film.
I mean, you can understand. I mean, this film set some like about 5 years after the third one. You know, where we basically invaded in Dark of the Moon. We invaded the Earth. So basically, as always, governments have been working in secret, and I've developed their own methods of building Transformers, and sort of from the beginning, after you see Optimus in his evasion mode flat truck, and then you see him scan into his new form, which was absolutely brilliant. You know, I thought that was really good the way they done that, and he sort of peels this evasion mode off him into this amazing new truck, and all these parts pop out, which you sort of understand certain bits of that, and then they all somehow were just hanging out. One of the things I did find, even right at the start, it sort of flashes between different settings. So one more where the other film sort of progressed and sort of translated from scene to scene. For instance, he would transform, and then you'd be in his car mode. This one just instantly has him in car mode or this mode, and it's like, where's that? There's no middle ground with it, and that happens straight through all throughout. But from after sort of he gets his new truck form and stuff like that, the story starts to just what story, I suppose, because it bounces through.
I think that the film tries to be more philosophically clever than it really is able to.
Yeah.
I think they try to put like this like I know there's a strong philosophy and ethics and morals and all of that with Transformers, and that's great, but don't think it really achieves it very well in this film.
No, I mean,
It's a bit wishy-washy.
it is. They're trying to cram too much into. Considering, okay, they could have crammed a heck of a lot that made sense.
Just so you know, though, I don't really know a lot about Transformers, so I don't really, and I can't remember the last film, so whatever I'm saying is just literally based on what I've seen tonight. And I know that literally if Anton could study Transformers philosophy, he'd get like a PhD in it. So, because I know there's a lot of philosophy and morals and things like that, and it
Yeah.
just didn't really feel like it achieved it. It was very basic, like it just tried to be too clever and it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole lot of like wow stuff, and like you were saying in the car, it appeals to the kids. You know, if the kids can go, wow, that's boss, that's great, that, you know, that's what sells the franchise, and Wayne has done since the 1980s. But
It cheapens it in a way though.
it does.
The amount of money that they spend on these films, and then they throw everything but the kitchen sink at it, CGI or whatever they do, and then they cheapen it. It's like
they shortcut
it
themselves.
needed to be more simple and kind of to the point, and it just
Yeah.
drifted way too much.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the human characters in it. Mark Wahlberg's character is probably the strongest and the easiest fleshed out. The daughter's secondary, as well as this Lucky Charm guy, which, oh, by the way,
yeah, I've got an issue with this in most films, but this one was really obvious. Lucky Charm, he's Irish at the beginning of the film. It wavers quite a bit, but you think, oh, he's going to have a good attempt at this Irish accent, and literally by the end of the film, he's American. So I just don't understand how consistency-wise people have overlooked that in the film. As I say, they spend so much money on all of these things, but they like omit the basics, and that was a really. I find accents that waver just really annoying, and I know it's nothing to do with the story and Transformers, but it just was quite annoying.
Yeah, I mean, characters throughout the film. For instance, Lockdown just appears out of a swamp from nowhere. He has no back basis of where he comes from, how he come to like make an alliance with the humans. He doesn't make sense, the character, to be there. The film could have easily progressed without Lockdown. The whole thing as well of over the whole metal seed thing of changing they seeded Earth with this metal, which dates back to sort of, you could say, the Vector Sigma key that turned everything into metal, was sort of a big factor. And what was it? Transformism? What was that compound? The metal, through the plot is based on humans getting this metal called transformism.
No, it's not called Transformism.
I can't. It's something utter naff. The minute you hear it, you'll just go, what the...
You just couldn't think of anything more. Like,
yeah, something original. It's like everything ends in ism.
Yeah.
An ism or ology, or... It's just the minute you heard the name, you went, really? Is that the best you can do on a budget of probably about 3 million? And who have you got right there? So
is that what it cost? 3 million?
300 million. Sorry, put the zeros on the end of that.
No wonder it wasn't very good.
So yeah, I mean, the plot thickens as it gets into like, you start learning about what happens in humans building their own robots, and it tends to be this sort of like memory metal that makes no sense. They realize that it can defy gravity, and it can make any shape that you think of, but there's no explanation of why it can make that shape. They say they can program it, but you can't.
And it can shift shape and do all these amazing things, but you can kill it.
Yeah, as a guess, you know, you've got the likes of.
Wasn't entirely convinced about that.
No, it was just, you know what, the whole metal thing, and I'm sure a lot of fans will agree with me, is it defies the entire philosophy logic of Transformers. You might as well call it Morphoformer or something like that, because it makes no sense to put a transformer that can shift between a car and mode in a particle thing of bubbles. It's like blowing bubbles, and it's something else. And even with humans, the humans can hold this like golf ball size, and then without some kind of way of communicating with it, think of a shape and it does it. Which is it's just the minute you see it, you go, what the fuck? What is going through the writers, the directors, even Bay's mind of this? So the whole making a transformer. Why make a transformer? Why make a big robot out of this stuff when you could make something that could maybe invade a transformer's body and stuff like that? It's just silly. It's pointless, and it's totally irrelevant.
I think they had these amazing ideas, but didn't think them through very well.
No, and you
Like,
get
oh, we'll create this metal. It's
yeah,
like this, that, and the other, and it's like, but you could have done so much more with it
yeah,
and
yeah.
thought about how you're going to explain it a bit better than just, oh, there's this metal, and it just wasn't. I don't
Yeah,
know. The whole film was just a little bit dodgy and not very well thought out.
the film to me represented what X-Men Last Stand represented. Is you've got all these characters, you've got a new fleet of basically, apart from Bumblebee and Optimus, you've got Drift, Crosshair, and Hound, and they just seemed like background characters, considering that the run up to Age of Extinction was fleshed out so much. Oh my god, he's a Bugatti Veyron, he's a Corvette Stingray, whatever. And they seemed like they were going to get good string along like personalities, and they just had no. They had nothing. They were just there, and you seen them in fight scenes getting a bit beefed up, and then
The cars were lovely.
yeah, I mean,
Some of the cars, I was like, wow, they
yeah.
are.
Michael Bay is notorious for like his
Maybe-
absolute sexy
Maybe you
cars.
should design cars and not make
Yeah,
films.
maybe Bay should do car designs instead of, because he does advertise them, and it is just one big marketing film for Chevrolet and everything else that's in it.
But I think like the robots are stunning, but it's just
The robots are
they
stunning,
are stunning.
but they're becoming too human. They're becoming
Yeah.
too humanized. There's just the whole point of like, where's the you
It's
don't
like literally like little eyebrows and facial
Yeah.
expressions, and like
I mean,
it's
Drift.
good, but it does humanize them.
Drift is a classic example. He's as basically the samurai one, and he's his face is just clear human, and I don't like that. I don't like that thing of them looking too human. They're alien robots. They're from a different planet. I can understand maybe them reformatting themselves to make us look like more appeasing to a human eye. But when you've got, rather than having like some kind of massive monster like a dog or something with huge teeth, but it makes no. I don't like that aspect of what they done, and I'm sure somewhere down the line Bay's explained it, and who cares? Yeah, it's just no. It's just this whole. Galvatron. Let's go on to Galvatron. Galvatron was the big truck, the big grey truck, who you've basically found out the plot line about Galvatron. There was a key moment in it where you hear Welker, and I'm convinced it's Welker, the original Megatron's voice, doing Galvatron. And I think that's going to be a highlight for a lot of fans who know of G1. Just go, ha ha ha, Welker, you legend. As far as Decepticons go, there's no one. You just see heads like trophies in the Galvatron factory. And that's really it. The ship, there's a massive ship in it that has been littered around the posters. Again, there's a bit of an origin story. The ship has more personality than the actual Autobots. And it's just sitting there. It's like District 9. It just hovers over cities and that's it, and starts sucking up stuff. But as it progresses, the film just gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and then you'll have a highlight and it gets weaker, and it starts to make you think that Revenge of the Fallen looked a bit okay, because at least it had some kind of plot line, but you're in and out, you don't know where you are throughout the film. It's like, okay, what's happening now? Oh, we're there, we're there, we're there, we're there. There's no clear transitions through it, and it loses its integrity. It feels useless. It feels like someone has writ a page a day and then went, yeah, we'll film this today. And that's how it feels like. It's one episode. It's like, oh, let's throw Drift in. Drift, let's speak about the characters. Optimus Prime, it's basically the Prime movie. It's about Optimus. He's just become this.
He like doubts himself in this film.
Prime's always been about doubting himself. He doesn't know what he's good enough, and I've got to look to the ancients. But in this film,
But he's not even looking to that anymore. It's like he's like listening to the human, isn't he? Like,
yeah,
like
this is.
he,
I
he
mean,
has this like, I'm not going to help the humans anymore, and then it's like, okay, I will help you, and then no, I'm not going to help you, and then I will help you, and then I'm going to kill this one, but he doesn't kill it, and I don't know. He's just a bit
Yeah.
and he's just wishy washy.
He wishy-washy, and then there's a shocking bit in it where, for everyone who knows the Prime character, he actually mentions that he wants to kill a human. And that's sort of the big turning point, because even throughout the films, the 3 Michael Bay films, we've always seen him have an edge, even towards the Decepticons, that there's no mercy with Prime anymore. It's basically, you're dead now. I don't like you. I'm not going to make you bleed for your life. I'm just going to rip your spark out and have done with it. And this film basically highlights that moment of where you can push someone that much, and literally he becomes twisted and sort of very not self-centered, but it's a game of survival, and that's sort of highlighted in the beginning of the film, and it becomes a game of survival
You
for
said
all.
as well in the car before, there didn't you? There's only so far you can push someone, and then maybe that he got just pushed a bit too far.
Yeah, he just got a bit. I suppose it could with anyone. We're sort of seeing this very much again, humanization of Prime, as if he hasn't been fleshed out enough. But this really goes into a darker sort of setting, especially with like what was the opening bit with Ratchet's kind of. I liked Ratchet throughout the films, and I thought he had a really nice sort of manner about him. But the way they get rid of Ratchet, sort of like, you do feel for the character himself. He's the medic, the Humvee they find on the boat. And the way they just tear him apart is kind of like, you do feel for the character Ratchet and Prime in the beginning, and then it just goes totally, let's kill all humans. It mentions nothing of Drift. For those who read IDW comics, Drift is basically part of the Autobot team. There's no crossover between Decepticon and Autobot. The Dinobots, the big fucking dinosaurs.
I think I might have missed a big chunk of the film because I didn't understand why they were there. Why they were on the was it on the ship?
Yeah, they're on
I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, spoiler: the ship apparently belongs to the Knights of Cybertron. These, for fans, would know who the Knights of Cybertron are, but obviously it makes no sense to newcomers of the Bay former films. The ship is just a relic, and aboard, Lockdown is notorious for collecting trophies, and Prime's a trophy. And the Dinobots, we all know that Transformers have to scan something for them to take its form. That's their basic method, their basic sort of ethic behind disguise and to blend in. The Dinobots are just there. They're aboard this ship. Now, by all means, you can make a connection that they're trophies, they're something that Lockdown has captured, or they are the Knights of Cybertron. They're cool. They are cool. They have no dialogue in the film at all, apart from they're massive as well. They're absolutely huge, but not as big as what I even thought. They're about 2 sizes the size of Prime. but nothing that gives them a characteristic apart from raw. I'm a dinosaur. Look how big we are. Look how spiky we are, and that's it. Considering that all these trailers have featured the Dinobots, a selling point. Everyone goes crazy over Dinobots. God knows why sometimes, because they do lack a lot of personality, a lot of sort of, if anything, just enjoyment, because they're the same thing, smash and grab. They were in it for about 10 minutes. All the hype with the Dinobots. They don't do much neither. They're basically just jockey and horse, and they just step on things and eat things. That's it. They do raw that in the real world will probably kill someone. The shit. They're absolute a disappointment for the Dinobots. They really are a disappointment. Well, you're on the dinosaur situation, just.
I think they're nice to look at. Well,
Yeah, by all means,
they didn't really mean anything in the film.
Stunning, and the whole thing of they just had them shapes. Again with the whole seed, the bomb, the metal thing, again was garbage. I hate this whole thing over the humans of just thinking that we do own, the planet and we can take on big robots. By all means, maybe we can, maybe we can't. But that really bugs me when we do see ourselves at the centre of attention. Again, this comes into all the philosophy and blah blah blah. Is it Casey Grammer, the CIA guy, Beast from X-Men? Plays a great part, plays an arrogant part, plays a knobhead part, but his final moment is brilliant, and this is where Prime totally, debunks himself. He just basically blows him away. Spoiler, and it's funny how it happens. But again, there's the whole Prime. I know he's notorious for dying, and there's about 3-4 parts of this thing where you just think he's dying again. That's it, he's dying. You've got a big issue.
I've got, yeah. Like I always go, oh God, what's gonna happen in this episode? Oh, I bet your Prime dies. Shock.
Shock, horror.
And usually it happens.
Yeah. Again, there's too much. There's obviously going to be a lead to it, another one. Bay needs to ditch the human girls now that they're basically sex objects within all Michael Bay films. If it's not an ass shot, it's basically if she is younger than what she is represented in the film, it's horrible. It's like, oh come on, you're just sexualizing these people now to the point of.
I mean, she is gorgeous.
Yeah, she is. She
is gorgeous, and you understand why they have. I mean, the fella in it. What's his name? The Irish fella that ends up American.
Yeah.
He's gorgeous, so you understand why they have them in there, because it's something to look at if
Yeah,
you're not really interested in Transformers.
Again, it attracts a certain.
And if you're interested in Transformers, but it's just.
It's
just cheese. It'd be nice if they did something a little bit different.
It needs to be. It needs to be. I found the Revenge of the Fallen was a piss take. It was utter garbage. This I felt followed the same lines. There's too much wishy-washy in it. It becomes too comical. They try and make it too comical sometimes, and it doesn't work.
There was a really good funny bit in it where it's a Bumblebee moment.
Yeah, but
I won't spoil it for you.
Yeah.
Unless you want to spoil it.
No.
I mean, I actually laughed at that bit.
Yeah,
but the rest of it wasn't particularly.
Yeah, Hound tries to be funny, and he kind of is. He's kind of one of the favourites in it, and he's sort of a, he's voiced by, is it Goodman?
Yeah.
Goodman, yeah, the big guy, Roseanne, whatever. Roseanne. He's quite good in it. You see more of him than most of them. Bumblebee is completely different now. He's got an arrogance to him. And I don't like it. That's chicken.
Pause it then.
Okay. No, go on. Do you want to sort that out? She's going to sort the chicken out because we like to eat late at night and all sorts. Yeah, Bumblebee is kind of arrogant and kind of pisses me off in a lot of ways. He represents nothing in the past 3 films. Crosshairs is a dick, but is the probably nicest looking bot there. This sort of skirt that fans out. is quite like a Matrix coat, and he's got sort of a Matrix element to him. 3D goggles, what? Nah, shit. Drift is just for the purpose of being there and to give him, other than a gun, they give him a swords. He has no characteristic, no sort of, he has this honor thing, a bit like Dinobot and Beast Wars, but he's not fleshed out enough. None of them are fleshed out. The ending. We're going to spoil this for you, the ending bit.
It was a bit weak.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little bit. It's clearly left it open for another film, like, of course, but just very blatantly, and it's just a little bit, come on then, right, well, it's worth watching this 3 hours film for a good ending, and it just was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah. The end fight scene's good. I mean, there's a couple of things I even giggled at, which I thought, that's quite cool. We've never seen that before, but it blatantly just comes all down. It's like, yeah, we saved the day, so what's going to happen now? And then Optimus, they've just basically teared up China, Japan, wherever they are. And then they're all sitting around having the little thing. Optimus is giving a speech as he does at the end of every bloody film. And then he gets off.
Mm-hmm.
He gets off without a ship. Now we know Michael Bay introduced the Transformers through to come in them meteor things, and he crash land on Earth. Cool, that's cool. I can understand that. But then he just gets off and then gives you a speech about, I'm going to find my creators. Might be a hint. And then that's it. I walked out with a bit of a... I did walk out... I sort of started getting bored in it. About an hour into it.
Imagine
Not
how
about
I
an hour
felt
into
then.
it.
Imagine how I felt if you're bored.
Yeah, it quickly loses the engagement with it. There are hints like all Bay like throughout the Bayformers, but it's a weak film. It's a weak film where
I think it's a weak film for people who really love Transformers and know a lot about it. I think for, like, if I went to take my children, they'd just think it was amazing because it's very surfacey.
Yeah.
Like
we said before, it doesn't go into what it tries to explain too much, but not enough to the point where you go and then it loses its idea.
Yeah, it's like if you've got to use too many words to explain something, then you maybe don't have a grasp of what you're saying. So I think, like, it needed to be more simple. It needs to be more obvious and simple and to the point, and it dragged on. And us, even though we're slamming it, I think, you obviously has a lot of expectations on it, as you do with every Transformers film, because it's something that you're quite invested in. But I suppose for people who aren't heavily invested in Transformers, it'd be a really good film.
Yeah.
But
don't get me wrong. I mean, Bay's sort of how he shoots films.
It's visually stunning.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that did piss me off, and it does too many city shots. There's always seems to be panning around the top or flying through a building, and it seems to be throughout. He just tries to do some kind of photography or something with. There's good shots in it. He's a director anyway, but he does get some really nitty gritty shots and cleans them up. The whole debris thing though really bugs me. Where I know there's going to be that much debris, but sometimes, like you said, you can't tell what's a robot and what's a fallen building.
I think I'm particularly bad with that though, because I just can't. Sometimes when there's the fight scenes, they're just so erratic and there's so much going on that you lose who's actually fighting and where they are and who's got hold of who and
that's another point.
A blur.
That's another point. There's a lot of sort of as if point in this. It's like, even through the bots grabbing a human and protecting them as they're going through a car or a house or a building, unscathed at the end of it. I don't care how big a bot you are. The hands are only so big, they can only protect them so much. Those humans should be cut up to pieces by whatever debris, even dust over them to buildings and stuff like that. The whole film is, if we go back to the 2007 one, they made it in a realistic sense. by the time we got to Revenge of the Fallen, it started to lose that. Number 3 kind of pulled it back, but then just blended the first and second one together. This pulls out every mistake from the first 3 films and puts it in to the point it's like, okay, yeah, I'm losing interest in this now, you know. But it lost its realism in a way for me. It's make believe sense of reality,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's where it's like, for me, it's like I have to separate myself from my own knowledge of
So,
Transformers and Bayformers, and I've always said that, you know, at the end of the day, Bayformers is the ultimate reboot, like, as we had for its first major upbringing, the Transformers in the 80s, and it's for a new audience. It's for a new audience, but it doesn't stop me questioning certain things in it. And you know, don't get me wrong. If I could probably shoot to the best bits when the DVD comes out, and it'll be about an hour and a half long,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get what I want out of it.
What do you want out of it?
No, I don't know. You know what? I don't know what I want out of it. Out of a Bayfront. I'm happy to see these. You know, I have no say anyway, but I'm just happy to see that they're in another film, but give it some give it a solid story, give some characters a more, like Bumblebee and Optimus have got. Obviously, don't introduce absolutely hundreds of characters because it's just a waste of time. You don't know who they are, where they come from, and
I think for me, as an outsider, some of the best parts of the film were when there was not as much going on, and that you realise that these are aliens in a human world. But when it starts progressing, you kind of forget. You kind of think that they're meant to be there, and the humans are kind of the ones that are the aliens. I don't know how to explain it, but it just I think there's just way too much going on, and I've said it like about 10 times now, but it becomes a little bit surreal, where some of the best bits are when it's very real and it's effective, and you see these big robots and against really naturalistic backdrops.
that.
And then when it becomes too busy, it loses it. It just loses it in CGI, I suppose. And the humans look like they're not really meant to be there. But
they do need less human action into it. I mean, I know it's Earth, and at the end of the day, but you know, to have all this, especially humans calling the shots over big robots, sometimes we're material at the end of the day. You know, why not kill off some lead characters there and then? the problem with Bay, the odds that he puts the humans throughout all the Transformers films is they should be well dead. There should be no Sam after the first one or the second one. And there should be clearly no Mark Whitberg, the amount of stuff he's going through. Warburg. I apologise, Mark. Well, no, I reckon we should end it there before we start waffling on going over. But
well, not the worst film I've ever seen.
Don't
think I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Unless Anton makes me.
Part of me thinks I will go and see it again.
But sometimes I think when you watch a film, this isn't anything to do with Transformers really, but you can be in the mood for it and you can anticipate it too much, and then you can disappoint. Yeah, but I suppose if you've seen it and then you watch it again, maybe you could appreciate it a bit more. Or we did go and see it at 9 o'clock in the evening, and it did go on for 3 hours. So I think we were just a little bit. Oh no, it's not exciting. It's not exciting enough to be like, oh yeah, this was amazing.
Then we had the shitty hot dog, didn't we?
Yeah, and the hot dog was awful.
Ben and Jerry's was the best thing.
Yeah, we had Ben and Jerry's.
And coffee without no sugar.
Yeah.
I really needed the sugar. So
now I'm having a nice glass of wine to end the day well.
And I'm going to go off and play with Roadbuster. So yeah, spoilers all the way. Let me know what you think on the comments below. If you can stand through nearly 40 minutes. It's like the longest video I've ever done.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's the gayliest one as well, wine and candles.
So if you guys have seen Age of Extinction, please let me know what you think. Drop me a comment. For you who are going to AA, we'll talk about it. Let's set up a discussion in AA. I'm sure that's going to raise a lot of discussions. That'd be a good one actually. AA on Age of Extinction. Monkey, if you're watching, that'd be a good one for iconic reviews. Let's get it all together. Anyways, that's Amanda. It's the chicken, and she'll see you at AA as well.
Mainly I'll be in the gym
Yeah.
and drinking wine and eating pasta.
Can't wait.
But I will see you.
Yeah, she will. Can't wait anyway, guys. But hope you've enjoyed this little thing, or 40 minutes of it, because I'll be bored by about 15 minutes of listening to us. Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Let's wave. Bye. Bye.